Boy, when my dad taught me how to juggle, I never thought that 1 minute that I would be juggling ground turkey rolls. Hey, SonicBlu Darkfold here for Cooking with SonicBlu. And we have 3 rolls of ground turkey. This is going to continue along with our cheap foods that you don't need a whole lot of money for, and what can we turn it into a meal? Okay, well, we have 3 logs of ground turkey right here. And we have some Sloppy Joe sauce. Now I know what you're thinking. I've had Sloppy Joes before. They're real easy to make. But how many times have you said, I feel like Sloppy Joes, but I only have a can of Sloppy Joe sauce and some ground turkey or ground beef. I don't have any hamburger buns. Do I have enough money for hamburger buns? $1.47, that might not be enough for hamburger buns. Well, maybe at 89 cents. But let's face it, when you have Sloppy Joes, you want the big, giant buns with the sesame seeds on the top, right? Well, a lot of the times when you have enough to make the Sloppy Joes, but you don't have the buns, here's another thing. Let's try to make it with rotini. And we're going to have something called Tidy Tim's. No, not Tiny Tim the singer. I'm talking about Sloppy Joes in a neat form, a nice and tidy form. It's not going to go all over the place. It's not going to get on your clothes. It's not going to get all over your fingers and you have to sit there and lick your fingers off when you're done. Not like Sloppy Joes. This is Tidy Tim's, and I'm going to show you how to make Tidy Tim's, and all it takes is rotini, Sloppy Joe sauce, and ground turkey. And I'm going to show you how to do that. This is going to be an interesting, innovative, brand new recipe. I've never even cooked this before. Here's my inspiration for this. A while back, Hamburger Helper released a new flavor called Sloppy Joe, and it was so good. But unfortunately, I can't find it anymore, and my guess is they probably pulled it from the market.
Discontinued.
What's that?
Discontinued.
Discontinued, yeah. I don't like to hear that in foods I love, and they seem to do that a lot. I don't know why, they just do. So, what I decided to do was make my own. So that's what we're going to do. But we can't call it Hamburger Helper, that name's already taken. So I thought, what am I going to call this? I can call this Neat Joe's, but that doesn't sound too right. So I decided, why not call it Tidy Tim's? Because Sloppy Joe, Tidy Tim, they could be brothers, you know, separated at birth or something, you know? You never know. What we're going to do is turn that on real high and get this boiling. And this is your water that's going to cook the rotini. Meanwhile, over here in the skillet, we're going to take our turkey rolls. And we're going to open up our logs of ground turkey. And you know why we choose turkey? It's cheaper, it's healthier, and it doesn't really taste all that different. Well, not to me anyway. Well, once you eat enough of it, you get used to it.
Mm-hmm. Could you use other kinds of pastas instead of the rotini?
You can. You can use, well, I prefer rotini because of the flavor. It doesn't really leave that strong of a flavor like you would egg noodles. But you can use egg noodles if you want to. You can also use penne. You can use tortellini. You can use macaroni and cheese if you want to.
So basically almost anything that you may have handy at the time.
Anything you have handy. You can even use spaghetti noodles if you really want to. And you can make a Sloppy Joe spaghetti, which that does sound good. You know, we'll have to see, and
we'll have to experiment with that later.
We'll experiment with that one, possibly in our next episode, because we still got lots of Sloppy Joe sauce. There's 3 logs of ground turkey. And chop that down like you would in a traditional sense. We're going to brown our ground turkey. Now, here's how the play is going to go. First, you boil the noodles and you get your rotini boiling and you cook them to like maybe an al dente type of thing. That's firm but cooked. Now, we're going to brown all of our ground turkey. We are going to add, when this is all brown, we're going to add the Sloppy Joe sauce. Sometimes you have to go premium manwich. And well, if you don't have the money to go manwich, maybe it's not on sale, and you find something cheaper, then you can always use a generic alternative. Got one right here. And it doesn't cost that much. And of course, it's Hamburger Helper. I love Hamburger Helper, yeah. What can I say? I'm a stickler for easy to make foods at times. And the reason why you haven't really seen Cooking with SonicBlu episodes in the past where, you know, there's this long stretch of episode where no cooking video is, because I've been enjoying some Hamburger Helper.
And addicted to Diablo 3.
That too. Well, not really, because we're making tons of them here.
Well, yeah.
And this was still about the time that I'm still playing Diablo 3. I'm now on hell level at level 58. Just this close to getting level 60, I can taste it! But that will be later. Right now we are making Tidy Tims. Not Tiny Tim. Tiptoe through the tubes with me. Now you take your ukulele / slotted spoon. We're starting to get a boil now because the bubbles are forming at the bottom of your pan. And pretty soon that's going to be turning into a slow rolling boil, then a rolling boil, and then a bubbling cauldron. And so what we want is about a rolling boil before we throw our noodles in. And why do we do that? Because it prevents too much starching in your water. And the hotter it is, the less the starches will leach out and make your water all icky poo. So helping your noodles not cloud up in the water, we're going to add a little dash of salt. Just a dash. Just to help purify your water to keep it clean as you're cooking your noodles, because there is a lot of starch in here. And when you cook your noodles, especially dumping them into a cold water, all of that starch is going to just seep right off of there, and it's going to run right off your noodles, and it's going to cloud your water, and it's not going to look too good. And it's going to make it harder to strain if it's too thick with starch, and really leave a bad aftertaste in your noodles. So to cook them clean, we're going to put them in a nice boiling water, added salt to help break away all that starch. And it kind of purifies your water as you cook your noodles, and that's an interesting little thing.
It also seasons your noodles just a little bit with that salt too.
That too. That's right. And you can also add, like basil or anything like that to the water to help it taste good. But that's if you're making spaghetti, but not necessary for this recipe.
Right.
The salt, though, will help. Waiting for the bubbling to happen, and it is not happening fast enough, even though we turned it on a very high, but it's starting to just give us a little bubble here and there. So cook faster.
You too.
It's not cooking fast enough. What do I have to do? I know. I got the perfect solution. I'm a magician. I should use magic. Really? Alright, let's take a look at this. Now you see it. Now it's done. Hey, a little magic actually worked. Alright, what do you say? Give it a little stir here. Now look at all that grease and juice and fat in there. You want to drain all that out of there. You definitely don't want that in your system. So we're going to reach for our mixing bowl. Did I say mixing bowl? I don't think so. I can't do nothing with a mixing bowl. No. I'm going to use that is my spoon caddy. Okay, I got to concentrate. I got to think colander. Colander. Think about it with me. Colander. Say it with me. Colander. 1, 2, 3. That is a calendar, not a colander. A calendar tells you what day of the week it is and what month it is. A colander is one of these things. Hey, there we go. Okay, there's my colander. That's better. We're going to take all of this beautiful ground turkey, and we're going to strain off all of that juice, all of that sauce and juice and fats and grease, all of that stuff that does not belong in your system. We're just going to drain it right out of there. You know, the sound of the skillet being scraped with a slotted spoon almost sounds like one of those dinner bells. Dinner's ready!
My dad had one of those.
My grandmother had one. And usually you'd only use 1 pound, but we're a big family. We're using 3 pounds.
Big hungry family of that.
Yes. And if we run out of food here, which I'm pretty much guessing we will, that's a lot of people to feed. Very simple little meal. So simple, I don't even know what I'm doing yet. Now we're going to open up our cans of manwich.
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 Manwich. Dump that in there. There's can number 2. Might actually get away with 2 cans, so let's see. Okay. Now we're going to mix this in really good. Make sure it's all evenly nice and coated. And you want some sauce in excess because we're going to need also to put the noodles in here.
I honestly don't think we'll need another thing of mix.
Well, let us see as we pour our rotini noodles into the pot. Now, give or take about 8 to 10 minutes of cooking time to get those nice and al dente. So we want them al dente so that way when they mix together and we cook them a little while, whatever other cooking techniques we can give this, we'll
give it a shot.
It will not make your noodles too mushy. And that's one thing we want to stay away from is mushy noodles.
Yeah. So
all of this meat, all of that sauce, and we'll determine still if the third can is needed, but we'll keep it in mind. Because usually it's like this. The formula is 1 pound of ground beef or turkey to 1 can of sloppy joes. So we may need it, we may not need it, so we'll find out. And even if there is some more sauce of this sloppy joe mix in excess, it'll make it nice and saucy.
Yeah.
So it depends on your taste. If you want it saucy, by all means add the third can. But if you want to experiment like what we're doing here, then we're just starting with the 2 cans and see if we need the third.
And working up.
Yep, and work your way up. And I can already tell you that I am really looking forward to this meal because I miss Hamburger Helper Sloppy Joe, and I have not seen it in over a year or 2. I really don't know where it went to, but I'm pretty sure that it's gone and soon will be forgotten. Does anybody remember something like, I don't know, 7-Up Gold? Does anybody remember 7-Up Gold? It's gone, it's forgotten. No, hardly anybody knows it. Crystal Pepsi. Everybody still remembers Crystal Pepsi because it was so unique. But 7-Up Gold, it was like almost like ginger ale.
I remember it.
I remember it too. I used to drink it in high school. But
well, I was real young, but still.
Here's something that is gone and forgotten. Remember when Sobe made Mr. Green Soda Pop?
Yes!
I loved it.
Yes,
that was my favorite kind. That was with made with ginseng and
a little bit of tea in there.
Yeah, a little tea extract was in there, and they made their own soda, and I loved it. I mean, I dearly, dearly loved that soda.
Yeah.
But I can never find it anymore, and then come to find out they don't make it anymore. Surge. The drink Surge. Does anybody remember that one? Oh, now we're talking high-octane Coca-Cola product.
Yeah.
That was Surge. High-octane, meaning that there was more caffeine in there than an average can of Jolt.
Yeah.
It made people really hypertensive. That's basically what it was like. And then Coca-Cola said, no, this is too high-octane. We're going to have to pull this product. I want to point out this. You notice that by adding salt to your water and waiting for it to fully boil, your water is still pretty clear. There's a little trace of starch in there, here and there, but it's not as bad as just dumping it straight in without salt. We wouldn't be able to see these noodles as clearly if there was all that starch in there. So using salt and waiting for your water to boil before you add your noodles, it is very beneficial for your noodles, for your meal, for the taste, everything. And everything is very precise when you cook it. Now, we're just going to keep this hot by turning this down to a low temperature, and that way this will keep everything hot and moist and make sure that your sauce doesn't cook back into your meat and evaporate.
Yeah, we don't want that.
Right. Then you will need the third can no matter what. But we're going to experiment, so guess what? It has finally reached al dente. That's just the way we need it. So in the same colander, dump out those noodles. Yes. Yes, we're going to dump out all those noodles. Reserve that to the side. We no longer need that. And drain off all that icky poo water. Give it a little shake here.
Shake, shake, shake. Shake, shake, shake.
Okay, we're going to drain off all of that water there, and we're just going to shake off a little bit of the excess so that way we don't drip all over our floor when we bring it back to our Sloppy Joe meat. And we're just going to add that noodle right in there. Look at that, it just slides right in. Alright, now we're going to pop this over here, and we're going to stir until everything is nicely even. And it looks like it's going to take that third can after all, so let's add that. Might even take a fourth. But we will see, because we are experimenting on this.
This is an experimental recipe.
Yes, and we've never prepared it before, but I want to see how close we can come into making and reduplicating Hamburger Helper's Sloppy Joe version. And we're just going to stir all of that in there so all the noodles are nice and coated. And a lot of the sauce will cook right into those noodles, so you might actually need a fourth can. It will make it very saucy if you put the fourth can in, but you never know. we'll have to see as we go along. Because some of the water that you don't get out of your noodles, it might actually help mix into the sauce and thin it out. So you want to make sure that as much of that water as you can get out of your noodles, you just strain it right out of there.
That honestly looks good to me, Sonic. Right there.
Yeah?
Yeah. It looks like a Hamburger Helper to me.
It looks almost like a Hamburger Helper, doesn't it?
Just before you serve it up, yeah.
And that's a lot of food there. And this is what we call Tidy Tims. It's very neat to eat, and your people, your guests, your family, your friends will all love it.
So are we going to be adding anything else to this, Sonic?
Nothing else. We're experimenting, so we can experiment by adding stuff later to it. Like if you want to add extra peppers in there, because there are peppers in here. You see them, but I never taste them, so as long as I don't taste them, I can eat this. And I don't taste the peppers in here. Now, if you want to add the fourth can, might I also just suggest covering and cooking this a little bit, stirring occasionally. And so that way, if you want them saucy, then you can have them saucy. In fact, that's not a bad idea. When do you suppose we do that?
I still think it looks good without the fourth can, honestly.
Really?
Yeah, I think it looks good just like this.
Just like this?
Yeah.
I think this should do it. Let's go ahead and cut it here. We'll serve it, and we will call it dinner. Let's serve this up. We'll give it a taste. I want to call this video adjourned.
But that does look good.
Oh, doesn't it, though? Now, what to serve with this? Well, it's good by itself, as you can see. But the proof will be in the eating. Now, not forgetting the most important and vital combination, cheese. You can add cheese as an option. I'm using mozzarella to this. And just sprinkle it right over your serving there. There we go. Now we're going to try it with cheese. Because a lot of people don't usually eat cheese with hot sloppy joe. Some people do. Rune is one of them. And
I got it from my mother.
Yep. This actually might add an extra flavor to your Tidy Tims. So let's just give this a shot. Very interesting. Yeah, it could use the other sauce, the other sauce can, or it's good without. I mean, either or.
It's on your preferences at this point, huh?
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, yeah, this is not exactly the same tang that you get from Hamburger Helper. It's got its own charm.
So, you want to give final?
I know what it is. The rotini noodles taste different, adding a little bit of sweetness to it. Somehow there's sweetness added to that. Tidy Tims.
Tidy Tims.
Tidy Tims.
He's been having a tongue twister all night.
So I noticed. Now it's not Southwestern spice, but
very tangy.
Yeah.
Very tangy.
You like that?
Oh yeah. Got a good cheese.
Got a little sweetness there on the side.
A little sweet aftertaste. It's very, very tasty.
Oh yeah. So there you have it, folks. This is Tidy Tims, and I'll show you exactly how to make it, and it is wonderful. It doesn't take that long to cook. It's got all cheapy ingredients so that even you can afford it. And what a meal in itself that it can make with rotini noodles, ground turkey, cheese, and sloppy joe sauce. But it's not sloppy joe's, it's Tidy Tims. So take a note from me, SonicBlu Darkfold. Tidy Tims on your table tonight. Things that bother you never bother me. I'm so happy I'm fine. Ha ha! Laughing in the moonlight, singing in the sunlight, having a wonderful time. I sound like Julia Child has just woke up in the morning. Oh, very lovely, lovely meal. Oh boy, yes, this is very lovely. Boy, when my dad taught me how to juggle, he never thought I'd be able to do it like... Take two. Now I'm going to have Tiny Tim stuck in my head now. Thanks, Tiny Tim, for all those catchy songs you sang. Tiptoe through the tulips by the moonlight, so come and see on tiptoe through the tulips with me. Bye! God bless you all! You remember Tiny Tim used to do that at the end of songs? He is rolling in his grave right now going, please God, somebody please take that ukulele away from him.
It's a spoon. What? It's a spoon, Tiny.
It's a spoon, Tim. Well, that explains it. Tip-top.